Well, this year marks the 40th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, and a new memorial that honors all the New Mexican troops that died in that war was unveiled Friday. 398 New Mexico troops died in Vietnam, and over a period of 4 years, 2 local veterans were able to collect 395 photos. This all part of a national effort by the Vietnam Vets of America. And our very own Kenny Hatchett is at the wall this morning. Hey, Kenny.
Good morning, Chad. Yeah, I'm over here at the New Mexico Veterans Memorial Park here in Louisiana, just north of Gibson. A beautiful area over here. Joining me is Joe Salas, a volunteer over here, and also a Vietnam vet, I understand.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
This memorial behind us was 4 years in the making. How did it come about?
Well, there was a request from Washington to all organizations to try to compile photos of those that had been killed in the Vietnam War, because they're going to prepare an education center in Washington, D.C. in reference to all these photos and information that's supplied on each of the photos. So 2 individuals, one from Santa Fe by the name of Arthur Canales, and one from Albuquerque, Arthur de Vargas, took the task as members of the Vietnam Veterans of America to try to compile the photos of those from New Mexico that had died in the Vietnam War. They started in 2009, and in 2012 they completed the task of compiling 398 photos.
That's a lot of photos. How were they collected exactly?
Well, they try to research, find out which ones were the ones that had been killed in Vietnam, and they went to family members. And you have to understand that that's a difficult task, because some of the parents might have already died. The only ones that are remaining may be a sister, a brother, or an aunt, an uncle, a family relative. So they try to find those people to try to get photos. So that's why some of the photos on this wall aren't in military uniform, but maybe a child with his pet that you'll find on here. So every photo is different. Some may not be in the military uniform. However, we need to understand too that during the 60s, we were still with the Instamatic camera.
Sure.
So it was difficult for anybody to have pictures, or some didn't have any at all. And fortunately, we were able to research it and get copies of military uniforms through the internet. So that's how it was all compiled.
Now, I understand you organized this wall. Tell me a little bit about the process that you went through organizing.
Well, there was an article that came out in the paper once these 2 individuals compiled all the photos, and they interviewed both of them. At that time, our museum curator, Mary Cox, saw the article, and she, of course, took advantage of that. It would be nice to have the photos here at the museum. So she contacted the 2 individuals, and she managed to get the photos on the flash drive. And the day that she got them, I happened to be in the same room, because I'm helping Mary Cox tag some of the items that are donated to the museum. And she was talking about it. Look, I got this flash drive with all the photos. It'd be nice to display them in some way or form, you know. So I asked her if I could have the project. So I took on the project, and I took that flash drive, and I researched every one of those photos, make sure. There was a total of 412 in the flash drive. When I was done, there was 395. The rest of them had come in there by chance. They had transposed Minnesota, for example. The initials for New Mexico.
Oh,
if you
sure.
turn them around, it's Minnesota.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were from Minnesota, from California, Chicago, you name it. There were 17 of them, and that left us with 395.
Well, and that is definitely a lot of photos. In our second half hour, we're going to take a closer look at those photos and some of the New Mexicans that lost their lives in Vietnam. So for now, I'll toss it back to you, Chad, but stay tuned. Like I said, at the half hour, we're going to take a closer look.
All right, thank you so much there, Kenny, and thank you, Mr. Salas, for your years of service to our country.